Today, let us go with one more and very important tool, and it is a DevOps tool, that is Docker. So today and tomorrow we are going to discuss on Docker. So today we go with all theoretical words regarding Docker, and tomorrow we'll go with the complete practical application. So what is this Docker is like? Docker is a containerization software. Docker is what? It is a containerization software. Okay. Docker is used to automate the deployment, scaling, and management of applications. By packaging them into standard units called containers. I'll explain these complete words. So it's mainly for what? To automate the deployment, scaling, and management of applications by packaging them standard units called as containers. And the main use of going with the Docker is like, what these containers include is like, containers include everything an application needs to run. So what container includes? It includes everything an application needs to run. Like what it includes, softwares, or you can say need to run, like the code of your application, the runtime system tools. Like examples, the runtime system tools are like example, your softwares like Java software, and databases, okay, Angular, etc. And it even includes the libraries. So what are the software required to run your application? That software it's going to include, and even the libraries also it's going to include. That is your container. And the advantage of going with Docker is like, it ensures consistency across different environments. Means your application will be consistent on any platform, any operating system. It may be Linux or Windows or Mac. What the main use of going with Docker is like, Docker is used to make the application portable. It is going to make our application portable, means it can run on any environment, any operating system. Now, let us understand more on this. Let us understand more here. Like for example, if you consider an application, when you go with an application, what we require? We go with the front end part. We go with what? Front end. Then we go with back end, and we go with database. So when you are developing a application, what application requires? It goes with the front end. When it is full stack application, means we require front end, we require back end, and we require database. Your front end is going to communicate to back end. Back end will communicate to your database, right? There. Now, in order to develop this front end, we are going to make use of the technologies, like we can go for Angular, or you may use React. When you go with the backend, we can develop backend using Java, We can develop using .NET, we can use PHP, or we can use Python like this. When you want to go with the databases, we can make use of MySQL, or we can go for Oracle, okay, or we can go for DB2 like this, right? Now, when you are developing this application, the very important point is like what technical softwares we are using. So related to technical, what softwares we are using to develop the project. So softwares used to develop the project. So the softwares what we use to develop this project is like, for example, I'm developing the project. So whatever the project we are developing, the softwares what we are going to use is, let us suppose we are using Java version 17. We are using which version? Java version 17. Then the front end we are using Angular 17 version. And we are going to make use of MySQL 8 version. Okay, so what softwares we are using to develop this project? For example, if we are using Java software with version 17, Angular version 17, and MySQL version 8. Now, when you are deploying the project, will you deploy the project in one machine or multiple machines? In reality, we go with multiple machines, right? We want to work with one server. So our project need to be deployed where? In multiple machines. So we are going to deploy the project where? In multiple machines. Okay. So let us consider we are having a machine 1. We are going with machine 1. So in order to manage your application, to manage multiple users, we make use of load balancing concept. If you remember in AWS, we have learned about load balancing. What we do in load balancing, we are going to create multiple servers so that we can able to manage multiple users. Okay. Then now let us consider we are having one machine 1. Machine 1. So in this machine 1, what we have to do? We have to take your app code. So whatever the application you have developed, we have to deploy that application code. And we need what we require the softwares also. We require the software also to make your application run. So what we need to install? We need to install Java version 17. We need to install Angular version 17, and we need to install MySQL 8 version. Right? So we are having mission 1. In mission 1, what we are going to do? We are going to deploy the application code, and we have to install, to make our application run, we have to install the softwares also on your machine. Right? Like that, we need to create multiple machines. So when you go with this machine, we require what? Multiple machines. So here we require mission 1, mission 2, mission 1, mission 2. Like that, let us suppose for your project, for your application, it requires something like 200 machines. For your application, let us suppose it requires 200 machines. So using load balancing, we are managing 200 machines to make our application run and to be used by multiple users. So in all 200 machines, what I need to do? I need to copy this application code. I need to deploy this application code, and we need to even install the softwares also to make our application run. Right? Clear up to here, Arvindo?
Yes, Raj.
Right? Now, let us suppose in future, the client want to change the softwares. Now the client want to make use of what? Instead of this Java 17, the client want to make use of Java 20 version. The client want to make use of what here? The client want to change this version to Java 20. And this Angular version also, they want to go to Angular 20 and MySQL 9 version. So like that, when you want to update your project, the client is asking to change the versions. Then do I need to change this version in all 200 machines? Right? I have to go to every machine and we have to update the versions of your software. So this is the main drawback what we are having. This is the main drawback over here. So to overcome this drawback only, we are going to make use of what? Docker. Clear now, Arvindu, the need of going with Docker?
Got it, Raj. Yes.
Right? So what is the problem here? We
These
need,
missions, these
yeah,
missions are
yes, please.
what kind of missions?
It can be
Uh,
any operating system. Either it may be Windows or Linux or anything.
okay, okay,
So
okay.
in reality, we make use of Linux more for load balancing, right? We have seen in
Yeah, yeah.
AWS, right? Maximum, in reality, people go for Linux only for deploying the applications. Okay.
Okay, Raj.
Now, so what is the problem? We need to install software in every machine to run the application. So in order to handle the load, we need to deploy the application in multiple servers. So we have to apply load balancing. So when we want to deploy the application in 200 machines, then we need to install required softwares in all 200 machines. Okay, so this is the problem. So in future, if you want to update our project from Java 17 to Java 24 or Java 20 version, then we need to uninstall Java 17. What we need to do? We need to uninstall this Java 17 on from all the machines, and we need to install the Java 24. Let us suppose if you are going with 20 version or 24, whatever it may be. So when the version is getting changed, when the software is getting changed, first of all, we have to install existing software. Sorry, we have to uninstall existing software and we have to install the latest software. So which is very, very difficult task and time consuming process. So in order to overcome this problem only, we are going to make use of what? Docker. Right? This is the main introduction of Docker here. Okay, so what Docker is going to take care? So Docker will take care of software installation required to run the application. What Docker is going to take care of? Take care of software installations required to run the application. Docker will execute the application, as a Docker container. Docker is going to execute the application as what? As a Docker container. Then Docker works based on virtualization. What is virtualization? So if suppose if you are having Windows, the meaning of virtualization is like, so let us suppose we are having one machine. We are having a machine. In this machine, we are having Windows operating system. In this machine, we are having Windows operating system. This we call it as host. So the parent operating system, what your machine contains, that is your host operating system. So this is our machine. Now, on this machine, what we are going to do? We are going to have a Docker engine. We are going to have what? A Docker engine. In this Docker engine, we are going to create the containers. We are going to have the multiple containers. Container 1, container 2, like this. Okay. So this containers, we generally create like a Linux virtual machine. This containers we go like what? Linux virtual machine. So this one is also one more Linux virtual machine. So if one operating system is able to run another operating system, like in this example, your Windows on Windows operating system, we are able to run Linux operating system. So this concept only we call virtualization. So this Docker works based on what? Virtualization. Okay. In one operating system running another operating system. Right? So what is this containerization? The complete definition of containerization. If someone asks you, you can elaborate this. The process of packaging the application code and application dependencies means softwares. So here we call dependencies means softwares. In the case of Maven, dependencies means your jar files. In the case of Docker, dependencies means your softwares as single unit. As what? Single unit for execution. For execution is called as containerization. Clear this point, Arvindo? What is the meaning of
Yes.
containerization? Right?
Yes, Ross, got it.
Right. Now, let us see Docker architecture. Let us understand what is this Docker architecture. So here, in the case of Docker architecture, first what we are going to have is Docker file. We are going to have a Docker file. Then, so what is the need of this Docker file is this Docker file contains instructions to build an image, to build Docker image. Okay, what Docker file contains? It contains instructions to build Docker image. Then what Docker file is going to do? It's going to build the Docker image. Docker file is going to build Docker image. Then what Docker image contains? It contains package of code and dependencies. Dependence means your softwares. What Docker image contains? Package of your complete code and dependencies. Then once this Docker image is created, then the next step, we need to push that Docker image to Docker registry. We need to push that Docker image to Docker registry. So what is this Docker registry? Use it to store Docker images. What Docker registry holds? Use it to store Docker images. So once Docker image is created, we are going to push that Docker image into Docker registry. Okay. Then now, once we push this Docker image to Docker registry, then we are going to run our application in container. So here we are going to run this Docker image in a container. Like you can take here container 1. You can go with container 2. We can go with container 3 like this. So we can run this container, we can, whatever the registry we are having, so whatever the images which are present in Docker registry, that we can run in the containers. Okay, container means a machine. So what is the meaning of container? Container means a machine. One machine is considered as a container. So we can deploy our application in multiple containers. So whatever the Docker images we are getting, we are going to run that Docker images in the containers. So this is how Docker is going to work here. Okay. So what is the architecture here? First, we require Docker file. What Docker file contains? Contains instructions to build Docker image. Okay. Then once we build this Docker image, what is Docker image? It's a package of code and dependencies. So it's going to have the complete application code along with the dependencies, means softwares and libraries. Then we are going to push that image to Docker registry. So what is Docker registry? It's going to store Docker images. Then finally, it is going to run on the container. Okay. So what is container? The meaning of container is like a container is a virtual machine. A container is what? It's a virtual machine in which application will be deployed. Generally, we are going to use a Linux machine only as a container. So what is a container? A container is a virtual machine in which our application is going to be deployed. Clear? Any questions up to here?
No, Raj.
Right? So we have to see the practical part, but I'm facing some issue with my Amazon Linux account. Sorry, this Amazon Web Services, I'm facing some issue that I'll be rectifying by tomorrow's class. So once I rectify, so tomorrow I'm going to show you practically like how to do this Docker setup in our Linux, that is AWS Cloud. So we are going to log in into our AWS Cloud account. Then we are going to create one Linux virtual machine and we are going to install Docker in our Amazon Linux virtual machine. And we are going to see how to create images and how to push the images, how to pull the images. So even we'll be learning what are the Spring Boot application we have created, how to apply this Docker on your Spring Boot application. Okay, that also we'll be seeing in tomorrow's class. Okay, clear?
Okay, Raj. Clear.
Right? As I'm facing some problem with the account, that's the reason I'm unable to show the things practically to you. So if still not working, I'm going to create one more new account. Okay. Right.
Okay, Raj.
Thank you very much. Before joining, please practice this and join. Just recap.
Sure, Raj. Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.